Here's a profound idea. When you're in something, it's hard for you to know that you're in something unless you get out of it. Think about a bird eye view. When you're looking over something, then you can finally see the entirety of it rather than being in something and not knowing what's going on. Think about if your mind is clogged up in a certain emotional state, then you don't really know what else because because you're in it. And it's an oxymoron because you can only find out you're in something when you're out of it. Now, you have to relate this into low emotions and what clogs up. What is clogging up the man of today's society? Lust, right? So you don't know how much space it takes in our human brains. This heaviness, this emotion, it takes you up and it just devours you. A good verse in the Bible that really really administers how potent and overwhelming the emotion can be is when the Bible starts talking about the relationship with the world and the devil. And he says the devil is like a roaring lion ready to devour whoever he seeks. So, again, a supplement to this is heavy prayer and heavy biblical life whereby you have faith in the Lord and you do your due diligence. But what am I talking about here? I'm speaking about be confident in yourself and ask God for grace to overcome the heaviness of lust. Lust is it's so heavy. It's heaviness in your heart. And by the grace of God, I've been able to overcome lust and knowing the subtleties of the certain triggers that usually takes my mind into that direction and recognizing it, gripping it to its core, and totally changing the direction of my mindset and being happy about not sexualizing everything. That is what is powerful about where I am today in comparison to a few months back. It's so heavy. And guess what? The devil is always looking at different ways to get you back into your old self. And a good example, again, biblical reference is God says that you shouldn't go back to your old ways because it's like a dog going back to its vomit. It says that everything is in the Bible already. Right, so what do we have to do if you want to overcome lust? First of all, you have to ask God for His grace, right? You have to have a prayer-centered lifestyle. After that, then you start looking inwards. What are the triggers? What environment are you hanging out in? What information are you taking in? What videos are you watching to trigger this? Now, I do understand that there's that biological proclivity to procreate. I understand this, especially as a man. I understand it. I get it. However, it was not meant to be perverted. This was not meant to be perverted. So, again, if you're not operating in love, you're operating in lust. If you're not feeding your spirituality, you're feeding your sexuality. So you have to look for the higher things in life instead of just sexualizing the opposite gender in order to feed the pleasure centers in your mind. It doesn't feed the soul. It's not satiating. It's not. It is not satiating. It's not nourishing to the soul. And I shouldn't have to tell you this because you already know. Seek God. Seek the fruits of the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added onto you. Simple. Again, biblical reference. So, after you see God, again, everything else being added to you, you start to rediscover yourself, your inner child, Carl Jung, shadow work, unconscious. You start to rediscover because your 7-year-old did not even think like this. I bet you they did not. They were just happy to be alive. So again, you start to reset your dopamine centers, your dopamine receptors, per se. You start to be happy about the little things because they start to emanate a lot of joy. For example, you enjoy going outside on a walk. It start become exciting. People even say music gets better because you can feel every single sound. You can feel it, the drums, the just different parts of music. It just resonate higher. You start to look better, and the universe starts working incongruent to who you are. You start to see certain synchronicities, right? So that's just all it's all about. So you don't know how much space this heaviness of lust takes in your life. You can't even have a normal conversation with the opposite gender before seeing them as a type of object. It's slavery. If there's ever a definition of slavery, it is. And it's a mental battle. But again, you have to admit and understand that it's all about alchemy, turning lead into gold. You have to turn lead into gold. It's alchemy, right? You have to carve this heavy emotion into a high spiritual practice. And guess what? It's not easy. Not everyone is doing it. But again, I'm not speaking to the masses here. I'm speaking to those who are courageous enough. Courage. And are just fed up with feeling as if they can't just be themselves. The energy blockages in their body. You can't be natural. You can't be free. So do your due diligence and ask yourself, are you ready to truly be self-honest with yourself and overcome this? Or are you still edging? I can't do the work for you. I can only teach. That's all. Cheers.